Good evening, everyone. It's Antonia, your host for tonight's show. So now you know. I hope everyone has been well in the past week last time that we met. Today is a very drab day in New York. It's cold and rainy. So I think the season is here. I think winter's coming and we're might see some flurries this week. So I'm excited because it's December and I want a white Christmas. Just a little bit. I don't want a blizzard. I don't want to be snowed in. I just want a little bit, and then I want it to go away by, I don't know, end of January will be good. But seeing the summer was very hot. I mean, we just had crazy weather this summer. I'm a true believer that, it's not going to work. We might have a tough winter. But we're going to hope for the best, and we're going to get through it together. So again, I want to welcome you. I'm very excited tonight because last week we talked about the holiday season, the stresses of finding that perfect gift. We talked a lot about what is Christmas about and kind of family dynamics and how that works because we were coming off of the Thanksgiving break. So this week, I thought I would get into the conversation about what's out there. What are the gifts? How do you find something for that unique person? And we, last week we also talked about getting unique gifts and things that are very personal to people. So I decided a little bit of today's show I would reach out to some folks that I have met through shopping, either through shopping, walking around. Perhaps I received a gift from someone or, just like everyone else. You just see the circulars and you watch the shows. So that's what today's show is going to be about. Looking for that perfect gift and trying to figure out what makes it very personal to the person that you're giving it to. So tonight, I have a friend called David, and I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm just going to say his last name. As I was practicing for this, I was like, Bonnet, and my husband was like, wait, I think it's a Dean's name. Hi, David, how are you? Welcome to the show, David Bodnar. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Antonia.
Oh, absolutely. And, part of the show, David, is I share with people how I got to know the folks that are coming on the show. So the way I got to meet David was over the summer, I went to the Greenwich Food and Wine Festival that's held yearly. I think it was at the end of the summer, I believe. Yes, I think it was September. And, I'm there for the wine. I'm going to be honest. I was there for the wine. The food's always great. And the atmosphere. And I was just, walking around, and all of a sudden I came into this area that had a lot of folks that were selling things. And I thought that was interesting because I hadn't seen that previously. And then I came across this table, and I don't know, David, you can answer this question, but I kind of was looking at it like, what is that? I couldn't figure it out. I was like, it's too big for my purse. It's not wine. I can't drink it, but I was very intrigued by it. And eventually I walked over to David and I said, hi, how are you? And without being like, what is this? I kind of was looking around trying to figure it out because they were beautiful. They were really, really nice, well-crafted. It had leather, it had wood, but I still was like, I don't quite get what this is. So then he explained it. And it was basically, Chef Folio is a way that folks who are very passionate about the food that they cook and use knives. It is a very special way for a person to carry their knives. Right? So I'm going to turn this over to you to David and just talk a little bit about this. But before we get to this, I want you to give us just a little background of what Chef Folio is about and how you came into this concept of this very unique way of carrying knives.
Sure. Well, you're absolutely right. A lot of people have the same reaction you did, so it's actually great. I love
good.
That response. People get intrigued and they wonder what it is because it's one of the things people haven't seen before, and that's one of the hallmarks of the product, which is great. But getting into it, I love to cook. I cook for my family. It's like one of the ways I show my love to people. I don't really say it all the time, and that's just little way I express my love to my friends and family. I bring my knives with me places, and I would bring them with me when we go on vacation and so forth, because we'd stay where there was kitchens in the houses and so forth. So I didn't have a good means of transporting them, and I didn't really like my knife block at home. So I devised this little concept of a book that you can kind of put your knives into, that would function mainly as a knife block for all intents and purposes 90% of the time, but it was small enough and lightweight enough and compact enough that you could take it with you. So that's kind of where it spun out from, and it's just kind of grown from there.
So, David, now I'm one of those people, and I'm sure there are folks out there that are listening. And if you're out there listening and you're near your computer, I want you to go to his website, Chef Folio, ChefFfolio, so you can see what we're talking about. Because I, like many people, I've been married 17 years. I have the same wooden block from my registry. I'm not a big cook. I'm going to be honest. It's the same knives. It's the same knives. I don't know how many times but I'm not a big cook, and my husband's not a big cook. So what David and I got into the conversation was, I have a brother-in-law who is fanatic about his knives. Like, you can't cut it a certain way. You can't sharpen them. I don't think and they're all women in his house and daughters. None of them can use his knives. So I immediately thought of him, and then I have some other friends that I know who are fishermen, who will go out and fish, and they're gutting and they're getting their fish ready. That this too would be relevant for. So David, what is it about people and their knives and cook that I just don't get it? So what is it about because I do see that it would be important to transport them, but what is it about that utensil of a knife that you have to keep it that, I don't know. I always thought the wooden block was enough, but.
I mean, the wooden block is great. It's not, I have to say, the product isn't always just for someone who cooks. It might just be for someone who likes the way that it looks aesthetically and wants to keep their knives in something sharp. I almost call it a piece of furniture for your knives. It looks like a sweet leather armchair that you can put your knives into. But, people are fanatic about your knives. I'm fanatic about my knives, at least one or two of them in particular, and that's just because I want them to be always sharp. And if they're not sharp, they're actually dangerous. I don't know if most people know that, but the sharper the knife, the safer it is for the person using it. So, that's just kind of the general thing. And people do have their preferences of the types of knives they like, and, just go from there.
So when you go into, maybe you can explain to our audience, what it goes into the concept of designing, because they're all not similar. And like you said, knives will come in different shapes. So how do you go about designing it's aesthetically what it'll look like?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it was, if you look at the basis of, most of the knives out there, I mean, in general, they're all kind of in the same category in sizes and shapes. You have your 10-inch chef's knives, there are certain dimensions. You have your 8-inch chefs, you have utility knives, slicers. They all kind of they all fit into some sort of a mold. So I kind of looked at all of them and got a general, sizing from each one of those things, each one of the knives, and went from there and devised just kind of a common layout of what would fit. And so actually when you're on the website, if you're looking at the individual products, there's 4 iterations or variations of the album, and 3 of them you can actually add additional panels to. So you can expand it as your collection grows, or if you just already have a bunch of knives. But as you update and add the panels, to the right of the image, there is a key that shows the size of the knives it'll hold, and, to give people a better understanding of, if I add this 5-inch panel to it, it adds, it'll hold 3 additional knives that are of this size and width. That fits what I have, So how did your passion come around as far as, and explain to me what a bladesmith does, right? I think because I read that, I was looking about just reading about you and your background. So tell us a little bit more about that. My background, I grew up in Connecticut, moved to Philly, went to design school, started out, wanted to be an architect, but found this, the degree course called Industrial Design, which is actually product development and design. Spans the gamut from designing cars to everyday products and so forth. Got into that, got my degree, got out of school, went about my business, got the job, spent 10 years in the corporate life, and a few years back decided to jump ship and start my own thing. But the bladesmith, coming back to it, it's being a bladesmith is one of the things I'm kind of aspiring to be. Bladesmithing are essentially people who make knives, and more pointedly, people who actually hand forge knives. They actually take a piece of steel or billet and smash it like a blacksmith would, and
so
shape
kind of
a
like
knife.
What they did back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a new art that's kind of coming back, and it's funny because I find this this serenity. It's kind of my therapy to be able to go out into my workshop and put my headphones on and my glasses and my respirator and sit there in front of this machine that's spinning incredibly fast, throwing sparks, and grinding a sharp piece of metal. It's almost calming. It's funny though, but that's how it is.
So, have you ever thought of creating your own line of knives that would be, because knives don't come with the block, right? You either design them custom design them to fit the actual knives that folks have, or you basically your standard group of knives that you would get, say, for me, for my registry, for my wedding, to fit that, correct?
Both, yeah. I mean, it's the ones that are on the website are just kind of your general use knives that fit a wide range of manufactured knives. But there are different knives out there. I've done custom pieces for people who design stuff for barbecue enthusiasts who have specialized slicers and different things, and different shaped knives, cleavers. So I can, if the ones that are on the website, the general ones fit your bill, certainly would love to build one for you. But if you have certain knives that are a little bit different in size or shape, there's a couple manufacturers out there that have super wide blades. I can always customize it, and there's nothing extra to do that. You just call me up and say, hey, I have this knife, and we go from there.
So, is this something you do at home? Do you have a place that you go? I'm just seeing you making your knives, and I'm just wondering. I think that is so interesting.
Absolutely, it's a great question. After I jumped ship from my corporate job there, I was actually designing night vision equipment for the military. I took some time off and built myself a workshop, and kind of went head first into this whole thing. And at the same time, my family grew, so it's been a really good combination of family and following a passion and staying close to home. So I'm really enjoying it.
It's fantastic, Dave. We're going to get ready to take a break, and then when we get back, because I want to talk a little bit about what goes into actually making them. But I wanted to know if you could just quickly share with us tonight, what are the various ways that, we'll talk about this later. Let me back up. Because again, I was harassing him, and when I talked about my brother-in-law, I said to him, I don't know this guy's knives. I just know, he probably doesn't even let us see his knives. So I wanted to know if I could get him a gift certificate. And Dave's like, no, I don't do gift certificates. But guess what? He now does gift certificates. So for those of you that are out there wondering, wow, do I have to go take a picture behind someone's back or ask them what kind of knives they have? You don't. You can just go and look at the different products that he has, and then you can get a wonderful gift certificate. And like you said, have a conversation with him to design that perfect block. I'm calling it a block, but I guess I should say it's a folio. So I want you to sit tight, and Dave, come right back to us, and we're going to get into exactly how you make these. So you're listening to Antonia with So Now You Know. So come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumter, the Potentiator. Tune in every Tuesday, 9 to 10 Eastern Time, and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, on talkradio.nyc.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo! What's that?
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
So welcome back. It's Antonia from So Now You Know. Tonight we are talking to David Bodnar from Chef Folio. And David, I just wanted to get into the design of the different albums for your knives. And if you could talk a little bit about what goes into that, the materials that you use, because I just want to make people to really visit the website because it's very, very sturdy. And even when you see them in person, the fact that what drew to me outside of the aesthetics was the quality of it. It was just as heavy as the regular block, the leather. It was sexy. It really was.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. That's one of my driving, forces is quality. I selected bamboo as my starting point for a couple of reasons. It's because it's a sustainable resource, but also because it's pretty durable. It's got a beautiful finish, and it's also heavy enough to hold the knives sturdily on the counter. I just looked at my knife block. I looked at wanting to find a different way or a better way to carry them with me from time to time, and so I just decided to kind of blend the best elements of a block that sits on your counter in a knife roll. So I came across the leather and kind of put the two together. And there's a few iterations that I went through before I landed on the one I'm currently producing, but all in all, I think it's working out fine. At this point, I'm also making them with hardwood. I make them out of hickory because it's a nice heavyweight wood. Hickory's got a bad rap in the woodworking right. Industry because it's a pretty fickle wood. It does kind of what it wants to do, and but for some reason, it's just a beautiful wood for what I'm doing because it's heavy. But it's got a beautiful grain to it. Mm-hmm. It's almost fluoresces a little bit when you put oil on it, and it's really curly, wavy grain to it. It's a super nice wood. I've also been using reclaimed hardwoods. I did one for a client who took a piece of oak out of his house that's over 100 years old, mm-hmm. and the oak actually still had the saw marks in it from the mill from like 100 years ago.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
So I just kind of making whatever I can out of whatever I can that's heavy enough, durable enough, and I'm also making them with wax canvas for people who are adverse to leather. So,
and so does it keep the knives in better shape from using the wood and the leather and those materials? Like, I would think it would, but maybe not. Again, I'm not a knife person.
I don't know if it keeps them in any better shape than
the regular.
Any other mm-hmm. solution. All the different solutions that are out there have their pros and cons. A magnet's nice because it sits on your wall, it displays your knives, it doesn't actually go into anything. But mm-hmm. unless you know how to actually remove the knife from the magnet, you can actually damage the edge every time you take it off. So there's considerations in all of them. Wood blocks are nice, but they take up an enormous amount of space on your countertop, and quite frankly, a lot of them aren't that pretty to look at.
Correct. Those are beautiful.
There's a wide variety of other solutions that are on the countertop that are neat. They're neatly designed, glass that you can slide it into, or
mm-hmm.
Panels, and just there's a lot of different solutions out there. But the one thing I came across was that there wasn't any one solution that did more than one thing. So you couldn't find a knife block that also could keep your knife safe in a drawer.
Right.
for instance, So
talk to
that's
me a
one of the
little
other
bit.
benefits.
Oh, sorry. Talk to me a little bit about your customers, because again, that first time that we met, immediately came to my mind was someone that I knew who loved to cook and loved his knives. Came to mind in the area. We were in Greenwich, a lot of personal chefs, a lot of restaurants. Though those are folks that you could give a gift to. That would be a very personal gift to give to a chef or a personal chef, because you can carry it around and it looks beautiful. Who else would you recommend this, or for those folks that are out there like, who possibly could I give this to? What do some of your customers look like?
You hit the nail on the head in a number of ways there. Personal chefs, people who just love to cook, even people who don't like to cook, who just like pretty things to look at.
Very pretty. That would be me. That would be totally me.
One group of people that seem to have taken an interest in it are people who have recreational vehicles, or like RVs or campers or sailboats, because it is small, it's compact, and you can, you don't actually necessarily have to leave a set of knives in your camper. You can take the ones that you use at home every day with you.
Right. Okay, and can you talk a little bit about the extras? Because I think the whole etching, the bamboo etching that you do is also beautiful. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I, as part of the process here, I got myself a laser that I use to etch my, company information into the back of the albums with.
David says, I just had this etcher.
And so, from that, I just started experimenting with it and actually etching the bamboo and the leather. And, it turns out I can do a host of different things with it. And, a few of the examples that I give on the website, I'm not that great. I'm just a one-man show, so updating my website with all the current stuff I'm doing is pretty tough. And but one of the things I use it for is, someone who wants to write a custom message to somebody that they're giving it to. You can just write, as a housewarming gift, hey, best of luck in your new home, cook a lot of nice, great food, but you can actually write it in your handwriting, and I can transfer it in your handwriting to the back of the album. So it's truly from you. It's not some type of, it's not typeset in some kind of computer font.
It's just,
I can etch graphics,
beautiful.
logos, whatever, on the leather, on the wood, into the bamboo. So.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we're going to give folks the information to how to get to the website and stuff, but to see it in person and hold it, it's just so elegant. It's stunning. And again, when I walked up there, he was like, he had no idea I was going to be sitting there for that long. Because again, to add to that list, fantastic wedding gift, right? To the bride, the groom, have their names on it. You can monogram it. It's just a wonderful, wonderful way to give that personal, unique gift to someone that's going to last, and it's going to last for a while. So let's talk about that. Do people need to oil the wood? What is the upkeep?
Yeah, everyone that I send out, I put oil on. I use a pharmaceutical grade mineral oil, so it's super safe for consumption. You probably won't want to take a lot of it, but
Okay.
It's something you don't want to drink.
Right,
but
right.
It's great for wood. It's what's recommended in a lot of ways for cutting boards anyway. And I stay away from any of the nut oils because of allergies. I don't want to get any problems with that. So mineral oil is great. For the wood, the leather, I just recommend simply putting a little bit of olive oil on your hands, rubbing it in, and then actually just rubbing the leather from time to time with your hands that have just a little bit of olive oil on it. That's the beauty of the product too, is that it patinas over time. So the more use you get, the more times you touch it, the more and some people may like it, some people may not, but it's going to pick up the things that take place in your kitchen.
Right.
That one time you splattered a little bit of wine on it when you were cooking. It might pick up a little dot of it. It's just a memory, and that's why it's an album. It reminds you of all the good times you had with friends and family over food in your kitchen.
That's true. That's true. Although I'd be like, why did they get wine on my album? So you mentioned that over time, someone's knife collection might change. And they might add. So, can you then later on add a panel or take away a panel? Like, what is your process as far as what customers can do if they later are adding another knife?
Absolutely. So one of the latest updates that I made to the knife album was adding these small feet to the bottom of them that serve two purposes. That actually elevate the album a little bit off the counter so it's not picking up anything that might spill or what have you, so it's not in direct contact with the counter. But that's also the mounting point for the additional panels that you can add on. So you can buy a knife album today and add panels down the road as your collection grows, or buy a couple different panels to suit your needs. What have you. It's pretty flexible in that sense. So the one thing I would caution people, the wax canvas is great because you are always going to get a consistent product. You're always going to know that when you order a wax canvas version of it, that the panel that you add on later down the road in a couple of years is going to be the same color as the one you originally ordered. Mm-hmm. Leathers vary, so I can't always guarantee that
right.
I'll have a piece of the leather that matches exactly to the album that you bought. But the beauty of that too is that it's great to mix and match. I've just shipped actually a few albums to a customer that I met at the show who mm-hmm. has a restaurant in Connecticut. Actually, he bought them for a bunch of his family, mm-hmm. And it's two-tone. I have the center part is one brown leather, and the other part is like a lighter leather with a neat etching that's something related to his family. So
wow, that sounds very, very pretty. That sounds so pretty. And again, I'm going to add to folks that are out there listening to the list. Great corporate gift. If you're CEO, president, and you have to give specialized gifts that you want to give to folks, this is beautiful. Like hands down, no one, just beautiful and elegant, and it goes for everybody. Everybody can, a woman, a man, anybody. I can't even talk about this product enough. So what I want to talk about though is what do we need to do to get it before the holidays? What is the turnaround when we order these?
Well,
that's why the gift certificate's a great idea, but if people want it in hand, what do we need to let them know?
Yeah, I'm against the wall right now with
right.
Filling orders. I'm running through a huge order for a shop down in New Orleans that just bought a lot, and this weekend I'm at a show down in D.C., Metro Cooking, where there's it's a 2-day event. If anybody's listening from D.C., come on out. It's going to be celebrity chefs and just lots of different food and vendors. But I'm against the wall, and I'm sure I'm going to grab a lot of orders this weekend. So I'm saying probably I need to have orders in hand by next week,
okay.
Mid next week, to be able to meet deliveries. I'd hate to not be able to deliver to somebody for the holiday if they really truly need it. So.
And again, like I had said to you, people love gift certificates. And the thing about that I know about my brother-in-law, and I'm not going to say he's anal, he's not anal, but he is particular about his knives, is I know I will give him a gift certificate, the gift card, because he'll want to design it. He'll want to put what he wants. He'll want to, talk to Dave and, figure out how he got. My brother-in-law will talk your ear off, but that's how some people are about their knives. So I'm so excited for that. So let us know how we can get in touch with you. What's your contact information for folks to reach out to you?
Sure. Website's www.cheffolio.com. I'm on Facebook, Facebook Chef Folio. Trying to work on Instagram. I'm not the greatest at it, but I'm out there on that as well. And if you need to get on the phone with me, I love taking phone calls as long as I'm not eating sawdust in the workshop. It's 717-977-9046. So call me, write me. I'm one-man show. I'll get right back to you, and love to build albums for everybody.
Thank you, David Bodnar. This has been fantastic. And again, this is something that I saw at the end of the summer, and we've been in contact since then because I just wanted to share it with folks because this is just a wonderful, wonderful gift, and you are so talented. We will make sure that also all your contact information for Chef Folio is on our website, so folks can also reach out to get in touch with you there. And thank you so much for joining me. I know you're super busy. Folks that are listening out in D.C., please try to go check him out at D.C. Metro Cooking. And I wish you a very safe, keep those knives away, David. Keep them safe. Keep them in them albums. And I will talk to you soon, but thanks a lot for coming on the show. We're going to take a quick break. This is Antonia with So Now You Know. More to come.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
ding 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 ding.